Alright, so it turns out I couldn't fit it all into one video, but I did the upper and lower separate. I hope you guys enjoy this one too. Thank you. Subscribe, like the video. If you have any comments, leave them at the bottom. I'll try to respond as back as I can. The lower receiver, anything you want to really call it. This is a 3-pin system. You know the 3-pin by 1, 2, 3 pins. My Glock is generation 3. It is a 3-pin receiver. You want to start this process by removing this top pin here. Roll pin punches work good. I'm going to use a small Allen key out of a jeweler's screwdriver set. You want to push on the punch until it's about 3/4 of the way out. Take a small pair of screwdrivers, or pliers, sorry I couldn't find my small pair, and just work its way right out of the receiver. Alright. Set that down. Next, you want to remove this back pin. Same process. Push it out, just like that. And this one, you might not even need your pliers for. It just slides right out. This one doesn't have notches. The other two front pins do have some grooves in them to keep them steady. So you might need some pliers, you might not. And last, you want to pop the last pin out and the trigger assembly. This one can be a little difficult. Alright, I took this pin out off camera again. It was giving me some issues. This pin has 2 big lands or grooves right in it. What you want to do is, while removing this pin from the bottom hole, you want to push this pin till it gets tight, and then you want to wiggle your bolt stop or slide stop until, while continuing to press outwards on your pin until the pin comes free. Next, you want to remove this block. You want to pull straight up on it. It can be a little bit difficult. Some people do get it easier than others. It does just slide straight out of the frame. Just like that. Starts to slide out. Grab it and pull it out. Alright. Your next step is going to be removing your slide stop, which just now will slide straight out of the gun. Next step is going to be removing your trigger assembly. You want to pick straight up on your trigger assembly and it'll slide straight out. If it pops like that, that's okay. That's just the trigger releasing, the trigger spring releasing from not being in place. So you can see, this will move and it'll pop around. It's not a big deal. Don't freak out if that happens. Just let it be like it is. Next, many people get you this far and they never show you how to do a trigger connector job or just clean your trigger assembly for good purposes. Alright, so your next step is going to be removing your trigger assembly. You want to pull outwards on it at an angle towards the front. You want to grab it, you want to pull out and that way. Kind of turn this piece. And this piece will lift up just like that. I like to turn my spring to the rear and then slide it off your trigger bar. Your trigger spring will be here. Here's your trigger. Next, when anybody tells you about a trigger connector on a Glock, this is the trigger connector. The best way to do this is on this side. You can see where the trigger connector is. Once again, take your small flat bladed screwdriver and just push it out. And this will be your trigger connector. This is the standard Glock 5.5 pound trigger connector. If you want to, you can pull this out. It's not a big deal. You push on it from the back here and push straight out. Push it and pull it out a little bit. And now you have a fully disassembled, other than your magazine release, which is very hard to get on camera. Many people have trouble showing that. Down in here, right about down right about here, there's a spring. If you look inside your spring, I can explain it to you. It's hard to show you on camera. You want to hold your magazine release like so, where the magazine release depresses out of the other side. Put your hand over that because that's going to push. You want to stick your screwdriver down in there and you want to depress that spring. You'll see a little notch and the spring will lift out of that notch, and then you can see the spring there, and the spring is now depressed out of the notch. Your magazine release will slide straight out. Okay? I have a Lone Wolf extended release on my gun. It is great for shooting, not great for carry. I would recommend keeping the factory on a carry gun. This one does tend to dig into your hip a little bit. And left-handed shooters is not great for it because it also digs into your hand if you do not have the ambidextrous mag release system. Getting the mag release back in, you have to pull the spring outwards, get the mag release underneath the spring, which can be a bit of a task, as you guys see. Alright, so you get the mag release back in. You can see the spring sitting on top there. You want to slide the mag release to full stop, just where it would be sitting, as if it were normally in the gun. You want to slide your spring back into that little channel that you removed it from. You'll hear it click right into the channel. Now the spring is in the mag release and you will get full function of it. Alright, so after you do your cleaning of your lower receiver, you want to start